My Lords, it's a pleasure to find myself at this place in the debate and to be able to respond to the noble Lady Baroness Fox of Buxley. It was certainly a passionate speech, but not perhaps a very cohesive one. She spoke about anti-democratic trends, and then she spoke about there being a consensus. Now, if there is a consensus and the government and indeed local governments follow the consensus, then that would seem to be democratic rather than anti-democratic. And just to point to some figures on this, there was a survey done by the UNDP around the world, 1.2 million people in 50 countries, published in January this year. And it's interesting that actually it was in the UK that there was the highest proportion. 81% of people agreed that there is a climate emergency. So that is indeed a consensus, I think we could say, and when declaring it, we'd be following a democratic path. And now, my noble friend Baroness Jones of Bolscombe noted that you will be hearing from both of us a great deal. I promise you, you won't be hearing from both of us on every amendment, but you will be hearing from both of us, particularly on this amendment too, with the name of the noble Lord Teverson, who so powerfully introduced it. And I want to pick up again that point about democracy, that he pointed out how many, the noble Lord pointed out how many local authorities have themselves declared a climate emergency. In fact, it is 74% of district, county and unitary and metropolitan councils together have done that, plus 8 combined authorities and city regions. And in terms of the biodiversity emergency, Sheffield Council has just done it, Eden District Council to Dorset, spreading around the country, and perhaps I can offer the government a little political advice thinking about the situation they find themselves in the Blue Wall. I note that Henley Town Council, in the absolute heart of what has been considered the Blue Wall, is planning to declare a biodiversity emergency this week. Indeed, they're going further and planning to back the Climate and Ecological Emergency Bill. So the government might like to think about not just the science of this, but also the politics of it. So I will be brief because my noble friend has already covered much of this ground. But I do want to pick up also a point from the noble Baroness Lady Mackintosh of Pickering, who said that we haven't heard enough from the voice of business. And so I'm going to actually refer to the voice of business on the question of declaring emergencies. And this is referring to the consultancy firm Deloitte's, an environment report from them a month or so back, which said that there is now, in combination of environmental, pandemic, social and economic changes, a business emergency, and that Deloitte is saying we need cohesive government policies, government guidance to tackle this issue. And I think what this group of amendments does, and particularly Amendment 2 does, is provides the cohesion for this bill that's absolutely crucial. And I would also say, as we've seen in so many issues, the public here is leading, 81% of the public accepting the climate emergency. Local government is not far behind. I would say it's very much time for the government, as the chair of COP26, to catch up.